Guys, I'll begin with this. Hansal Mehta has always had a very sharp eye for casting. You were his big find 2 years back in Hindi cinema. I want to know, this was a lovely decision to finally have you do some fiction and do some acting. And how did this work out? I'm sure you must have gotten offers before, but how did this work out?
Yeah, so before this, I'd only gotten offers for like really horrendous villains from movies in the south.
Right.
You know, and yeah, 3 of them that I very clearly remember. That a villain who has no white, there's black and white hota na, kuch nahi, black hi black hai. वैसे रोल से. So you know, there was too much of thinking to do before I could take those. This, however, I think just a lot of things fell in place at the right time. People I was extremely comfortable with, a role that I had sort of prepped for all my life, being a chef. So I think it just felt right, and I thought I'll just jump into it.
Right. Pratik Rajkumar, who's the other muse of Hansal, had told me that, it's come down to just a missed call now. Like, he gets a missed call and you show up. Has that become like that for you? Or was it for this film? Like, Hansal called and you were there?
Yeah.
Right.
In fact, I keep telling him that whatever that you think of me and let me know.
Right. But what did you think of the material of Bai? And also to do Modern Love as an Indian.
It's a lovely script. It's a lovely script. And Modern Love as a franchise also, it's been widely loved, widely watched, and very well appreciated all across the world.
Right.
So now that Indian franchise and Modern Love Mumbai has its own story, its own charm. And the city, this city of dream, it has lots and lots of stories. So and this particular Bai is a very heartwarming, heart-touching story that we are telling here. And the way Hansal sir has dealt with the emotions, the characters, is something that I'm sure people will remember for a long time.
Right. You've been a cultural figure here from the culinary world, but coming into the movie world of, let's say, Amazon being on one side, a director like Hansal, Pratik with you, what was your discovery about this world? I'm sure you've been on the edges of it, observed it from far, but from inside.
No, so I like being behind the camera. I like directing small documentaries, editing and stuff. I was very scared to perform, right? Because I've just been myself for such a long time. I didn't know if I could be somebody else. So the biggest breakthrough for me was that you could be somebody else and then yet add on to who you are. At the end of it, when you come back as a richer Ranveer. That for me was the biggest takeaway. The more characters I play, the more I enrich who I really am. And that's addictive.
I see. Please tell me this. I'm very curious because these are again adaptations of columns that were originally written for an American readership. How have the writers gone about getting the cultural nuance of it correct, especially the subject of Bai that's dealing with? I think a lot changes in the context of the Indian middle class, let's say, as opposed to the American middle class. How do you think the writers have gone about adapting it?
They have done a phenomenal job. Because the moment you watch it, you will feel that it's our story. It happened in Bombay. It is that time period. It is about this people, this family, and you will feel everything is amongst us. So that way, it is very well adapted.
Which year is this happening, the story?
The story is happening in present and past together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's Mumbai of the 90s
and
Mumbai of today.
I see. Because there's a lot of mystique about whenever we have broadly hetero actors playing queer characters. How was the process? How easy or difficult was it? Did Hansal have workshops or things to get you guys into the world of this?
Yeah, he had a workshop which sort of lasted for 10 minutes. It was a phone call. He said, "Khana banana hai, bas अच्छे से बननी, हारी बनाएंगे."
Nice.
I said, "Okay." He said, "Have you read the script?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You have any questions?" I was like, "No, it's fine." He's like, "Good. See you on the set."
Right.
That's what happened with me also. He said, "This is it. This is how we'll do it, and that's it." So this is the script. This is the character, and let's do it. Let's have fun.
Right.
So, but overall brief, the moment you read the script, there are unsaid brief which is there in the script is that don't treat it differently.
Yeah.
Don't put an extra effort to this.
Right.
Just let the genuine emotions flow, and that's it. So his approach is very simplistic, and that's the fun.
I see. I see. Were you cooking on set?
A lot of cooking.
What all
happened
did you
on set. We made nihari. कम से कम 40 किलो गोश्त तो निहारी बना
My
दी.
God.
We made nihari, kimami sevai, yakhni pulao. Yeah, good fun. Man. Good fun.
How was it tasting for you? Like,
I just tasted kimami sivai
Right.
because I'm a vegetarian.
Right.
So I saw everything being
We were
prepared in front of
convincing
me.
him to at least have the gravy. Saying,
Yeah.
वहाँ तक भी नहीं पहुँच पाए हम लोग. He stuck to the kimami sevai.
that reminds me, Hansel is a huge food fanatic.
Ah.
Right? He reads and
Yeah.
yeah. Did you guys bond over that? Pratik also.
A lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was very common, and he sort of took back the. What I really liked was, so I do a Lucknow nihari, which is not the Delhi nihari that we see. It's much softer, milder, nazuk hoti. He took back the recipe and he cooked, and he sent me a video and he showed me. He said, "Sahi hai na?" And to get somebody to get that nuance on the third day after the shoot, and to be itching to cook. और वही मेरा वाला बर्तन ही ले लिया उन्होंने. मतलब जिसमें इसने बनाई उसमें बनाऊंगा. So you gotta appreciate the passion for fine things in life, and the passion for the elation that food can get you.
Was there anything Gujarati on set, food wise?
Food wise, a lot of things. So my tiffin.
Wonderful.
Most of it was from Lucknow.
Right. Because thematically, I wanted to ask you, like, a lot of queer cinema in India often goes through, the first negotiation is with the family and family traditions, and that's something we've been fighting. And some people do it in a more confrontational way, some do it more softly, more in a way more in a convincing tone. How has Bai tackled it, the world of, when it comes to characters with alternate orientations and negotiating with the family? How does Bai tackle that aspect of it?
So it has both.
Huh.
It has both. There is some little confrontation also, little softer aspects also, and more so it is done, in the most human possible way. It's very human. You feel for it, all those moments. So it's not that the family members, the way they are reacting is out of absolutely negligence of the whole concept of it. It's more of fear.
The unknown.
The fear is that how will we be perceived? How will we stand in the society now? The kind of questions, how will we tackle that? And the Bai, who's played by Tanuja ji, everything revolves around her. So that fear that how will she react to it is the biggest thing that Manzar Ali is also going through.
Remy, anything?
No, I think it's just it's the common thread of acceptance, that the film revolves around. In adding on to what Pratik's already said, and he's covered most of it. What I felt was the beauty of it is that in the end, the love shines through. Whether it is Manzu's mom's love being bigger than what everybody else is going to say, or his sister's love, or eventually the grandmother's love. I think it's just the good part is it's a victory of love over fear of the unknown, and acceptance of the fact that it was actually the fear of the unknown that was driving their decisions.
Right. What is the most memorable scene that you guys had to do together that you'll carry the memory of?
I like the beach
scene, yeah.
There's a scene on the beach where, we won't reveal too much of it, but it's a very, I just felt these were two people who looked at their sexuality very differently. One was a little more assertive because he'd lived in the US for a long time, and one had seen that in India, and how they react when both of them realize that they're in love.
Same for you?
Yeah, that's a lovely scene. Very less lines and dialogues, and very, very much to interpret what they are going through.
I see. It's absurd when people legislate too much on food or love, right? And we've had homosexuality criminalized in this country, but gay marriages is still a long fight ahead. What are your thoughts on gay marriages having some kind of legislation in place for people to have protection?
I think it's it's for the legislation to take its due course. I think we've as a society we've come a long way in accepting boundaryless love, accepting love beyond genders, and I think it's just these are matters that of policy and legislation that take their time.
Pratik, your thoughts?
Yeah, so India has always been a country of love. So love will take its own course, I guess. It will take time, but ultimately, love has been winning all the battles all
Right.
across the world.
Right.
That will happen here also.
Do you think art plays a part when in having real change happen at a legislative level, in fact, to inspire or get people talking at least?
Yeah, that happens through art, any form of art for that matter, painting, poetry, performances, cinema, theater, anything, books, any form of art will definitely create those ripples where you start thinking or you start talking about it.
I'll end with this. What is your most romantic memory of Mumbai? It need not be with a date or with someone, even just what you remember as the most romantic moment in Mumbai. Maybe in the early days, something like that.
It's my
Yeah.
most romantic time in Mumbai is when I got my first play and when I stepped on the stage for the first time in Mumbai. I had done a lot of theatre way back in my hometown, Surat.
This was Prithvi?
Prithvi.
Prithvi.
So my first performance at Prithvi, and I actually felt that soul there when I was performing on stage. I can't
Right.
forget that moment.
Right for you?
Yeah, for me, my romance with Mumbai started when I landed here from the US. And it was Ganpati, last day, Visarjan. And I had a Muslim gentleman who tried my cab. And we were going through a lot of troubled times in our business in the US. And Dad was unwell. And I came back to India in a lot of stress. And for some reason, he looked at me and says, "आप कहाँ से आए?" मैंने कहा, "अमेरिका से आए." कहते, "आप बहुत अच्छे दिन आए हैं. आज गणपति है. आज आए आप. ये शहर आपको जमेगा."
How lovely.
You know, and that for me, that moment's etched in memory as my romance in Mumbai started that day.
Yeah.
And the power of it is
So
a Muslim gentleman telling you
Yeah.
the power of Lord Ganesha in the city of Mumbai to somebody who's come from the US. I mean,
This is which year?
this is 2012
I see.
August.
I see.
10 years ago.
So cool.
Lovely. Great. Thank you so much, guys. All the best for Model of Mumbai.
Pleasure.
And Ranveer, shouldn't strike out the South Indian villain thing though. Might just be fire on that front.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
guys.
you very much.